Hello, welcome back to Elden Ring Nightreign. In this, I was still continuing to just try to get the 4 journal pages for every single character, and I'm not recording every run, but this run, both of my teammates insisted on playing Recluse. And something you heard a lot when Elden Ring Nightreign first came out was that you don't want to go multiple of the same hero. There were people saying like, oh, Duchess was super strong, and so all 3 of us went Duchess, and it went terribly. And so you need to play 3 different heroes. And even though I could play with a group by going to like a Discord server and getting a dedicated group, I choose to play with randoms because I feel like it shows a more authentic experience as to what the average player is going to get. And so when I saw that my 2 teammates both insisted on playing the same character, I thought, yeah, this is a run that I want to record, specifically because if you're playing with randoms, you're eventually going to get a situation like this. It's going to be somewhat normal, and I want to show what that's like. And here, 2 teammates both went into the cave, or into the tunnel rather, and I decided to go with them because you always want to stick with your team, especially at these lower levels when you don't have a lot of health. And here, there's a troll, decided to pop ult, and I was confused for a second before realizing, oh, the troll got stuck in my ult, and I thought that was kind of funny. It makes it a little hard to hit them, but it despawned and we can fight normally. Also, if my mic has been like crackling in the past few parts, I'm sorry. I think I figured that out and how to fix it. So hopefully that'll not be a problem anymore. But for beating them, I was able to get a smithing stone 2, and here I quickly saw it for a moment, a smithing stone 1. And I figured, if I got a 2, I might as well pick up a 1, right? And I saw these lightning hook claws, and I decided to pick those up and run with those instead of the cestus. And I have these in my left hand just because Raider's main weapon is super slow, and I don't want to have a super slow weapon. Or I don't want to have a super slow weapon as my only option. So if I need some speed, I'll have that just in the offhand. But I want to go with the main weapon because I want to learn these characters. And so I'm gonna try to go with the option that was built for Raider as much as I can. Here, I just made a mistake. My dodging wasn't on point. But mistake made, lesson learned, and I'd learn to do better. So we start getting our dodges on point, stun the enemy. Thankfully, I was able to get this critical hit. And with that, the Leonine Misbegotten goes down. And here, increased number of runes obtained. Super nice to get right at the beginning. Like, getting that at level 3, level 4, that's just great. Here decided to pick that up, and it didn't do as much damage, but I figured I'll just hold on to it until I can get something better. And here, we head up to the top, and here, decided to pick this up. It's completely useless to me since I'm not using any spells, but I figured I have a Recluse as a teammate, and I have a Recluse as a teammate. So, like, if I have the time to drop it to one of them, surely it'll be useful to one of them. And there, I just wanted to make sure that I wasn't running off away from my team. Yeah, I didn't want to go off alone. And one teammate was a little behind, but that's okay. You don't need to be bunched up right next to each other. And here, I was gonna fight him, but Recluse kept running, so I started running. Then Recluse stopped running, and I went, okay, time to fight. And I was getting a little better with the timings, so I was able to hit them a bit better. There, tried to get their attention with that, but they just kept running, and so I figured, hopefully I can drop it for them later. Here, Guardian Golem. And Raider's 4-swing combo looks super nice, especially the 3rd and 4th swings. I like them a lot. Here, Guardian Golem went down. Executioner's Great Axe is a weapon that I like a lot. In the base, like just Elden Ring, it kinda sucks because it's a random drop weapon that you get off a rare and powerful enemy. But if you can get it, it's one of my favorite great axes. And there I dropped my other 2 weapons because I was just gonna go with the great axe. And I tried dropping the primal glintstone again. They still ignored it, so I just picked it back up. And here, I wasn't sure if my teammates wanted to run through here or fight the enemies, so I opted to start by running, but then they decided to stand and fight, and so I did the same. And here, boss is dead, and I instantly dropped the glintstone shard. And boost HP restoration from flasks. That's nice. And here, swung at this to try to get their attention. They looked at it, they picked it up. I got to take just a sigh of relief, knowing that I wouldn't have to carry that anymore. That one of my teammates finally saw it and accepted it. And I could just move on, not having to worry about that anymore. And here, we run forward. Here's another boss. It is 4 Oracle Envoys that all have their own health bar, but share the same boss health bar. And so once we kill all 4 of them, we get this. An HP restoration upon attacks. I decided to pick that up. And none of the items seemed that good to me. I decided to drop the hook claws, so that way I wouldn't be swapping between 3 different weapons. Tried to level up, didn't have enough runes. And I was just looking at those, but nothing good enough for me to want to pick up. And so now I was just waiting for a teammate to make a ping. And they did, and so off we go. As I've said before, in previous parts, if I need to, I can lead. And I have no problem with indecision when playing solo. But being part of a group, I don't want to abandon the team, and without voice, like without a voice comm, I wasn't sure, like I don't know where my team was going to go or what they're prioritizing, and so I generally prefer to allow one of my teammates to lead. Because when I lead, I can tend to get a bit tunnel visioned on whatever I'm going to do, and I don't want to deal with that. Here, check the map just to make sure that my teammates were following. There, I saw some things being shot at us from the castle, and I thought, we can go fight the castle, but my team decided to run on ahead, and again, I didn't want to abandon my team. And so I decided to just go with them. And here, as you can see, there's the ring of fire. And as long as you're on the bad side of the ring of fire, the side with the rain, you'll take continuous damage. Think of it as like being scarlet rotted. But it was worth it because there was that church, and that gets us an extra heal. And there, one of my teammates decided to run off towards the castle, and me and my teammate just kind of stood here, and like I said, we could have gone to it, and my thought process was, if Zod goes for it, I'll go for it. Now, looking back at the gameplay, I do think that's a mistake. Because I think that they were waiting... Like, I think they thought the same thing as me. Where I was thinking, if they go for it, I'll go for it. I think, looking back now, that they were thinking the same thing of, oh well, if Raider goes for it, I'll go for it. And so, because of that, like assuming that's true, we were both stuck with paralysis on that until it was too late. And so, looking back at it now, I definitely should have gone, and Zod probably would have followed. If not, we would have made it. It would have been fine. Like, with 2 people there, we definitely would have had enough time if I had gone right away. So, that's a mistake on my part, and I think that's important to admit. I think it's important to record your game, like record your expeditions, and then to watch them back, just to see what mistakes you made, and to try to figure out why you made those mistakes, so that way you can avoid doing them in the future. And that's part of why I'm doing this. But with that being said, we got some demi-humans. I decided to pop that just because I was being lazy and didn't feel like smacking the small, fast enemies with my big, slow weapon. Ignore the fact that I still have a fast melee weapon on me. Yeah, that doesn't exist. It's not real. I don't have a Saestus in my left hand. If I just press left on the D-pad, it wouldn't exist. It's not real. But, with that being said, we have a demi-human queen and a demi-human swordsman. And I thought, Well, we have 2 spellcasters, and that'd be a good time to pop my ult since both bosses were looking at me. But I figured as the raider, it'd be better for me to focus on the demi-human queen and just play aggressive, constantly smack the boss, and don't even really dodge. Just keep smacking the boss, because you can get very close to the demi-human queen. Like, you can get under their arms, and then when they attack, they move themselves forward. And so you can just avoid a lot of their swings by standing close enough to them. And with that, the Night 1 boss is dead. And none of these seemed good to me. But successive attacks restoring FP could be okay. And here, I decided to just run straight into the fire. Because, yeah, you take damage, but Raider has a ton of HP, and I knew that I could just tank it, zip a single flask, and then once we kill the boss up top, we'll get ourselves a Sight of Grace, and it'll be fine. I'll get that flask back, no problem. And I'm not gonna use 3 flasks on whatever basic little boss is up here. Right, whatever baby nonsense is up here. And normally the boss is here, and it's a Guardian Golem. And so I was a little confused when there was no boss health bar. But then I saw it. It's actually a Crystallian up here. And the thing about Crystallians is that they take very little damage and poise damage until you break their poise. And Raider's good for that. Here, I picked up the staff and then dropped it because useless for me, but one of my teammates might want it. And I ran in here just because I had never actually picked up the thing on the table that glows, and I didn't know what it was about at the point. I know now, as of the time of the voice recording, during the gameplay recording, I had still never actually picked it up because my teammates always ran straight for it. And I wasn't sure if it was a full team thing or just an individual thing, and whoever got to it first was the only one to benefit. So, did that, and with that done, we can now run to the next ping. And here, Night Comet and Carrion Piercer are both pretty good sorceries. Not the best, but pretty good. And so I was holding on to that just in case one of my teammates wanted it. And here we drop down here, and this looked very confusing to me. I'd never seen this before. But Night Swallowed Golden Hippopotamus. And I had no idea what this was. Like, yeah, it was a golden hippo, obviously. But Night Swallowed? I've never seen anything like that. But here it said objective achieved. And I thought, oh, that might just be like a side objective. Because I forget what they're called. Memory fragments, I think. I think they're called memory fragments, and you can get them. And I've heard you can check them in your journal. But I wanted to put that off until I got 3 to 4 pages for every single character. And so I assumed that's what that was. It was an objective or a memory fragment for one of the 2 recluses. And we had done that, and I was happy to do that. I'm always happy to help my teammates out. And so I was content with that, and now we got to move forward. Here, Golden Pumpkin, or Mad Pumpkin rather, and for some reason they just didn't attack us. Got another smithing stone too, that was nice. And I was thinking I could drop it for one of the recluses, just in case they need it for a weapon. But then I decided not to, because I am a greedy, evil person who never helps my team. And I should not be trusted. But with that being said, we move on forward. And up here, there's like an encampment with these things. And I'm gonna be totally upfront with this. No idea what happened here. So, what you're supposed to do is jump onto these guys, like their head, and then attack to get a plunging attack. I assumed the third one was over here, realized my teammates weren't going that way, and turned around and saw the top of the third one over here. So, glad I decided to follow the team instead of where I assumed the boss was. But here, couldn't get the... I couldn't get the plunging attack on this third one, so we just killed him the old-fashioned way. Not nearly as good, but it is what it is. And here, decided to focus on reviving the teammate instead. But yeah, I said that I wasn't sure what happened there, because normally I am garbage at getting that plunging attack. And this third guy is a good showcase of that I am terrible at it. So, I'm not sure what happened with the first two and why I was able to plunge attack them so easily first try. Because that definitely wasn't normal for me. I never have that easy of a time. But here, decide to use my other smithing stone 2 on the tree spear. Because it's a great spear, it's a big chunky weapon. Raider's the big chunky weapon guy. So I figured that it fits well enough. I saw that purple thing, assumed the team was going for it because it's like purple and oozing. And so there's probably something to that. But my team ignored it, and I figured, hey, if the team ignores it, I ignore it. Because I don't want to be a good teammate like that. So, not sure what the purple oozing thing was, but I'm not gonna worry about it. I am Raider, I am big, strong, beefy boy with big, strong weapons, and I don't concern myself with frivolous things like human thoughts and consciousness. I concern myself with big, strong meat boy things. Like smacking enemies with a giant slab of a rock. Because that's my purpose in life as a Raider player. I say having done only 2... Oh, yeah, I think it was only 2 expeditions as a Raider up to this point. But still. We got another flash charge, and we move forward. And here, I saw ruins, and these are very clearly blood-based ruins. And I wasn't sure if the team wanted to just skip this or go after the boss. But I saw the Ring of Fire here, and I was a little anxious about that. And here saw this, very quickly realized, oh, I don't want to be here. And one of my teammates died. And there I saw why they went after the Ring of Fire. Because there was actually another church in, or I suppose rather out of the Ring of Fire. So, going after it would make us take damage. And now that I knew that, I was running back. But I figured I have 5 flasks. And when you beat the Night 2 boss, you gain an extra flask. And I don't want to run into the Ring of Fire. The, like, blue section of the map. I don't want to go into that, take a bunch of damage, possibly take it down, and if I do take it down, most likely take a death, all for a single extra heal. I would rather just play better and not deal with that. And some people would probably disagree with that. Recluses who ran into the fire would probably disagree with that. But personal opinion, I think it is better to be safe than dead. So I decided to not go with it. Here I saw a second tree spear. And when neither of these are great, but I can choose the Venomous Fang, and then I can drop it. Because you can actually choose, like, once you beat a Nightfarer, and you unlock other, or Nightlord, that's what they're called. Once you beat one Nightlord in Gladius, you gain access to other Nightlords. And something very cool, a nice quality of life thing that I really love, is when you have access to multiple Nightlords, you can select one, or you can select multiple. And up to this point, I'd beaten 2, Gladius and Adele. And those were the only 2 I'd even tried, and I'd beaten both. And so what I was doing is I was selecting both. And so going into an expedition, I didn't know which one I was going to get, but Adele is weak to poison, and so I picked a poison weapon and dropped it, just in case that's the one we get and a teammate wants it. There was a mark for a difficult boss, but it was the Leonine Misbegotten we'd beaten right at the very beginning. And so we got that, and I decided, since we have time, I can pop the It's Raining gesture. The one you get for pre-ordering the game. And decided to drop that because I didn't need it. And moved that over just in case. Now, I've said it once before in a previous part, I'll say it again. The It's Raining gesture, it's a good gesture and I like it, but you can't roll out of it mid-gesture. You have to wait for it to fully complete before you can roll out. And it takes longer than it looks like it does. I mean, it takes a full, like, 2 or 3 seconds. And doing that when the circle of fire is closing in can be dangerous because the enemies spawn at a certain point. And it hasn't gotten me killed before, but it's gotten me close to getting in trouble before. And so when I pop the gesture, I like to do it kind of early on, when there's still some breathing room like this, before the enemies spawn. But here, I saw that if we stood there, we would end up inside of the rain section, on the other side of the fire. That's probably what I should call it, the rain section, instead of the Ring of Fire. But anyways, we got some enemies here. Just some basic aristocrats and a high page. And here, that did a lot of damage. And that kind of spooked me, because that hit harder than most bosses. Which is something very strange to think about. That a normal enemy can hit you harder than most bosses. And here, he almost did it again. And then he successfully did it again. And the two Recluses saved me. And here decided to pop the ult while all three were here. But being saved by the Recluses like that kind of gave me a chuckle, being like, I'm the big, strong, meaty character with these giant weapons. And in the round table hold, if you're running around as someone else, there's a chance that you can find a raider on the beach, like lifting a giant boulder. But even though he's such a big, strong character, I'm being saved by these mages in robes. And so, it's kind of a reversal of what you'd think. But here, decided to focus on the main boss, because he has spell parry with his great shield. And, you know, I didn't want... Here, funny little animation break. But I didn't want the Recluses focusing on a boss who can spell parry. So I focused on him while they went after the normal Royal Cavalrymen. And I mostly just focused on staying alive, doing a decent bit of damage, popped to the ult, and I thought that he had gotten stuck in it, so I wasn't worried. But then he very quickly got not stuck in it, and so I took a hit because of that. And then I took a hit because of all the visual clutter. But then I thought, okay, I need to, like, pay attention. Like, I have a job to do, I need to do it. I am the health boy. I need to make sure that my health acts like a shield to my mages. Especially because they got all these sorceries flying around. They're doing so much damage. They're doing so good. Here, boost physical attack and boost damage negation are both very nice. But in the end, I lean more towards physical attack. More attack than power, because I'm the big beefy boy. And then, with the Night 2 boss done, we can interact with that and make our way to the Day 3 section. And here, couldn't really do much with that, so I just dropped it. And here, I decided to purchase 2 Starlight Shards, and I decided to drop them because in Nightreign, there are no blue flats to get your FP back. And going into the Nightlord boss, there is no... Like, there are no Sites of Grace or any way to get your FP back. So I decided I'll buy 2 Starlight Shards, drop them so each Recluse has 1. One of them picked up both, but that's okay. I'm sure we'll be fine. And then I had some, like, sunstones. Can't remember what they're called right now. Like, warming stones? But decided to grab some of those just as some extra healing. And I sat here, and I am kind of glad that I recorded these as just the gameplay without talking, because, as I said, way back in the first part when I was just doing the tutorial and looking at the round table hold, I got sick when Nightreign came out. Like, the day before it came out, I got sick. And at the time of this gameplay recording, I was just recovering from that. It wasn't anything serious, but I was sleep deprived and I was kind of loopy. And at the time, like, just waiting for the day 3 thing to get here, or like waiting for this cutscene, I was talking about how I felt like a pretty little princess with my 2 recluses acting as my knights here to defend me. So, I was pretty loopy. Just partially from being sick, partially from being sleep deprived. But I was having a great time. And here, uh, one of the recluses didn't spawn. And I thought, okay, sometimes someone has like a slower computer or there's like lag or something. So we just need to wait a minute and they'll be here in no time. Like, they didn't leave, I still see both health bars off to the side. And I was just thinking, which weapon do I want? Which one swings faster? And here, turns out the little lag was a little more than a little lag. Turns out there was some kind of connection issue. And loading in, you get that pop-up that says like, hey, there's an ongoing run. Do you want to rejoin? That happens whenever there's a connection issue and you can rejoin. And if you can join back in, it acts like there's a death, or it acts like you died, basically. You'll lose all your runes, you lose a level, but you respawn, you can get your runes back. Not a big deal. No need to worry about it. But here, I'm just gonna say it right now, it didn't work. I couldn't join back in. And that sucked, because there was an update, and I actually hadn't had any connection issues up until this point after the update. On day 1, there was a ton of connection issues. But after the update, no issues whatsoever. But I figured, that sucks, that's unfortunate, because my teammates were doing really good. But, well, we can just move on and, yeah.